Get out of the water now! The woman's voice cut like a knife echoing across the pool. All eyes turned, but none with kindness. A small boy, no older than 10, froze, his skin the only reason for her fury. She sneered, waving her hand as if he were dirt, while others whispered and stared. Humiliated, trembling, he climbed out, his wet footprints fading on the hot concrete. What no one knew was that in just minutes, his tears would turn into a story this entire club would never forget. Have you ever been judged for something you could never change? Tell us in the comments. Before we begin, hit subscribe. It's appreciated. It was supposed to be a perfect summer afternoon. The sun was high, the water sparkled, and laughter echoed around the neighborhood pool. For young Marcus, this place wasn't just a pool. It was freedom. He had waited all week for this moment, clutching his goggles and practicing his strokes in his head. His mother had saved up for their modest membership, determined to give him the same childhood joys other kids seemed to take for granted. Marcus wasn't a troublemaker. He was quiet, polite, the kind of boy who still said thank you when given a popsicle. But in spaces like this, it didn't matter who he was. What mattered, painfully, was how he looked, and while other children splashed without a care, Marcus always felt the weight of certain stares that lingered too long, the whispered comments he wasn't supposed to hear. Still, on that day, he dove in with excitement, determined to ignore it all. His small arms sliced through the water, his legs kicking with all the energy of a boy dreaming of becoming a swimmer one day. From the side, his mom watched with pride, her smile growing wider with every lap he completed. But the perfect afternoon carried a storm beneath the surface. Not everyone at the pool saw Marcus as just another child enjoying the sun. To some, his presence was an intrusion, an unwelcome reminder that the world outside their gates was changing, and it was only a matter of time before that storm found its voice. What would you do if someone tried to take away your child's joy just because of the color of their skin? The laughter around the pool carried on, but Marcus's joy was short-lived. As he rested against the pool's edge, catching his breath, a shadow loomed over him. A woman with sharp sunglasses and an even sharper tone barked out, "You don't belong here! Get out!" Her voice silenced the chatter instantly. Some parents looked away, others whispered, but nobody stepped forward. Marcus's small hands gripped the edge of the pool. His chest tightened, confusion clouding his young face. He had done nothing wrong. He wasn't running, wasn't shouting, wasn't breaking a single rule. Still, the woman's gaze treated him like a trespasser in a place his family had every right to be. With trembling arms, he lifted himself out, his wet skin glistening in the heat, his eyes filling with tears he tried so hard to hide. His mother, seated nearby, shot up in disbelief. She had seen the stares before, but this was a dagger straight to her child's dignity. She rushed to him, wrapping a towel around his shivering frame. "It's okay, baby," she whispered, though inside her blood burned with rage. All the while, the woman folded her arms with smug satisfaction, as if she had restored some invisible order. Word spread fast around the pool. Some parents quietly nodded in agreement with the woman, while others shifted uncomfortably, unwilling to take a stand. Marcus sat silently, head buried in his mother's side, his dream of being a swimmer crushed in the span of minutes. But his mother's silence was not weakness, it was planning. Behind her calm eyes, a storm was forming. She would not let this moment define her son. Not today, not ever. Because what no one realized was that she was far from powerless. And the next step she was about to take would shake the very ground beneath that smug woman's feet. Would you have stayed silent in that moment? Or would you have spoken up, even if it meant standing alone? The following week, the pool buzzed as usual, children splashing, parents chatting under umbrellas, lifeguards pacing lazily along the deck. For most, it was just another summer day. But for Marcus and his mother, it was the day everything would change. When they arrived, heads turned again. Whispers carried across the water. Some expected them to keep their distance, maybe even leave quietly after what had happened. But instead, Marcus's mom walked with a steady, unshakable confidence. She wasn't holding just a towel and sunscreen this time. She was carrying paperwork. She had spent sleepless nights making calls, speaking with lawyers, and gathering every resource she had. She wasn't wealthy, but she was determined. She had fought through struggles before, and this one would be no different. Behind the scenes, she had done the unthinkable. She had negotiated to buy the very club that had humiliated her son. The same manager who had once avoided her now rushed to greet her with forced politeness. The contract had been signed, the deal sealed. The place that had rejected Marcus was now under her name. As she stood there looking at the pool, a mix of nerves and pride swelled inside her. She thought of the sacrifices, the long nights working extra shifts, the times she had gone without so Marcus could have more. And now, here she was, taking back what no one could ever again deny her child. Marcus clung to her hand, still hesitant. He remembered the sting of that woman's voice, the eyes that told him he didn't belong. But his mother knelt down, meeting his uncertain gaze. "This is ours now," she said softly, her voice steady with love and triumph. Around them, the whispers grew louder. Some were shocked, some angry. Some couldn't believe what they were seeing. And somewhere in the crowd, the woman who had kicked Marcus out of the pool stood frozen, her face drained of color. She had no words now, no authority, no power. The boy she had reduced to tears was walking back to the water, this time not as an outsider, but as the rightful owner's son. What do you think happens when Marcus finally steps back into that pool? Marcus stood at the edge of the pool, his reflection rippling across the water. For a moment, the memory of that humiliating day weighed on him. The laughter, the stares, the cruel command to leave. His heart pounded, fear and pride battling inside his small chest. Behind him, his mother gave the smallest nod. It was all he needed. With a deep breath, Marcus jumped. The splash echoed louder than the whispers that tried to drown him weeks before. This time, no one could stop him. No one dared. The water embraced him, not as an intruder, but as a boy reclaiming what was stolen from him. All eyes turned, but their silence spoke volumes. Parents who had once looked away now stared in disbelief. Children paused mid-play, sensing something different, something bigger, unfolding before them. And standing near the shallow end, the same woman who had kicked him out clutched her bag, her face red with shock and shame. Marcus swam lap after lap, his strokes strong, fearless. With every kick, every dive, he shed the weight of humiliation. This wasn't just swimming anymore, this was victory. His mother's chest swelled with pride, her eyes glistening as she watched him glide across the water. When he finally emerged, gasping for breath but smiling wide, the pool erupted, not with jeers, but with uneasy applause from some and stunned silence from others. The very space that once rejected him now belonged to him, to his family, to his future. The woman who had sneered at him once whispered under her breath, unable to meet his eyes. The power she held for a fleeting moment had vanished forever. Now the question was no longer whether Marcus belonged here. It was whether the people who had looked down on him could handle the truth. The boy they tried to push out now stood higher than all of them. So tell me, when the tables finally turn, do you believe justice truly silences hate, or does it only reveal who people always were? Show some love with a like and subscribe to stay inspired.